Hi, everybody. Welcome to SA Rugby Magazine. I'm Kevin Ferguson, otherwise known as the Money Man. I've got Rich picking with Gavin Rich. Gav, we are 11 out of 12 this season, including the championship. If we should really have an asbestos blanket on us in terms of what we've picked, what we've done. Let's get into it straight away. Tell me what your thoughts are on SA. I'm at Foresters because
Yeah, I see that.
circumstances lead to that. But nice to have you.
Cool.
And tell me who's going to win and why against Ireland, because it's setting up to be a cracker.
Firstly, which one did we get wrong? You said we got 11 out of 12. I'm not actually sure which one we got wrong.
But when you get 11 out of 12, you don't care.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember which one we got wrong. I think South Africa are going to win, Kevin. Look, I mean, I think this will be their toughest game of the tour. I don't think there's going to be red cards in this game. Well, how can you possibly say that? I mean, that's the most idiotic thing I've ever said. Because these days,
World Rugby is a disgrace. Disgrace. It seems like the TMOs are there to be participants in the game. They'll find something. They'll find, even when they didn't find the ball touch, the bag touch by that one guy, and the guy got suspended. I mean, but I don't know whether it's South Africa bad luck or it's conspiracy, but it's abysmal. It's absolutely abysmal.
It's completely. Look, I would have thought it was conspiracy if Mostert had actually been, if that red card was upheld. Then I think
how does he not get a red card? I thought he was in for 4 to 5 weeks again, because the tackle before that was 2 feet. Loot the Yager, 2 feet off the ground. Nobum was hurt. I mean, I just don't get it.
No. Look, I mean, there were. I was very certain after that game that red card would be rescinded, and people said to me, "How can you say that? It never." In fact, I think in a WhatsApp conversation, you even said, like, with World Rugby, you never know, and you're right. Yeah. But that was just incompetence. That wasn't conspiracy. That was possibly one of the most incompetent refereeing performances I've seen since another Kiwi took charge of a big Bok game, which was Bryce Lawrence back in 2011. It just felt like he had no control of that game. I mean, the week before that, Angus Gardner, I think, got it wrong. He was browbeaten by his officials into giving a permanent red card to Loot de Jager. But outside of that, Angus Gardner was quite good in Paris, I thought. But Dolman,
that's the thing. What happens now is, but you have these TMOs that want to involve themselves in the game. They'll find something. We think someone's done something wrong. Well, it's like everybody saw, and it was overturned. There was no head contact. Yeah. So it's like, if someone takes a second look at that, where are we getting it wrong in someone taking the first look at that and should be getting it right? It's absolutely disgusting. I can't use any other word for it, though I've had 2 beers. I'm flabbergasted.
Kevin, I think the problem actually goes. I think there's too much technology in the game. I really do. I think that in a game like rugby, in a sport like rugby,
when you're getting where the rules more often than right,
the laws are so complicated. You will actually have situations where games come to a stop. I mean, it becomes almost like this dead period where, I mean, you have to be in the stadium listening to Sweet Caroline or whatever. If you're watching TV, you have to listen to the commentators gabble on because they don't know what to say because they've got dead space to fill.
And when you score a try now, you have to look around and see, is it going to be a call? Yeah. Is it going to happen? It's kind of like the Premier League where someone scores a goal and you just don't know anymore. So there's kind of like a double celebration.
It's taken spontaneity out of the game. It's taken, and if I was actually wanting to be constructive and not just critical, I would say that what rugby needs to look at, and this is something that's just suddenly come to me now, out of the blue, what they should be looking at is a sort of a referral system, or like they have in cricket, where you've got three referrals, and if a team thinks that the try shouldn't have been awarded because of they concede a try and there was a.
You have it now in basketball. You have it now in hockey. You have it in football, American football. A referral. Have 1 or 2 referrals, one per half.
We had it in South Africa just after COVID. I remember Stephen Kitsoff, when he was the Stormers captain, getting some of those right. Actually, he kept on getting his referrals right. But we didn't carry it on into the rest of world's rugby. But at the moment, we've got these guys sitting in their the TMO sitting in the box, and he's looking. He feels like he wants to be part of the game, so he's looking for things that happen. And if you do that, you're going to spot them. I mean, you're going to spot.
At what stage of your TMO, Gav, where you said, "Okay, we fucked it up the last 3 months, the last three games. There shouldn't be one red card that I've seen, not one."
That's why I think. That's why I think Saturday's game. That's why I don't think it's going to be a red card. I think there's been too much focus now. I think the Boks could get away with murder on Saturday, and the referee will be too sort of timid to award it.
Wouldn't bet against the World Rugby Union again. I just won't do it. As someone, I've often said, there's smarter people than me. I'm being facetious when I say that. There's not. Yeah. I'm not that smart, but I'm not that fucking stupid.
I just think this is going to be a game where they're going to try and cast out of the game as much as they can. But you know what, Kevin? You know what was? Yeah. There's also this weird sort of because that. They could have sent that thing to the bunker. They could have left the bunker and make that decision in Turin, and that was just an easy thing to do, and it was the sensible thing to do, to just go to the bunker, because there's no ways that they saw head contact in that Mostert challenge, because there was no head contact. So they just had to do that. It's a very simple thing to do. But I would like to go back a couple of weeks to Tag Bird. The bunker got that one wrong, because that red card, so even if you go to the bunker, they don't get it right. And there's
no guarantee that's going to happen. I mean, it's I don't even know. I mean, we start our shows with talking about a red card, which wasn't a red card, that is disgraceful, is ridiculous. It's been like that for 3 weeks in a row. I'm fed up of starting our conversations with something that shouldn't be in this game.
It's actually been going on for years. I mean, there's cards. There are so many cards. I mean, people forget. Somebody was talking to me about a conspiracy against South Africa. Let's not forget, in the last World Cup final, the Kiwis had their captain sent off, which also to me is like they need to look at that whole tackle height thing. Let's be honest, Kevin. I mean, you've spoken about the woke thing before. And I'm in complete agreement with you. In fact, I wrote a column about it this week. I think that they need to make the rugby safe, and they obviously do need to look to put measures in place. But if you take,
but how safe? Because if you're playing rugby and you're not expecting collisions, you shouldn't be playing that sport.
Exactly. So that was the point I made in the column this week, was that people who don't know that they're playing a dangerous sport, because it is dangerous, there is risk involved,
and it's gotten more dangerous.
Yeah. So if they don't know that they're playing then it's not concussion, and then they're suffering from then they went in with something called stupidity, because you know, I've got a mate who goes mountain biking and also cycling on the road every weekend. And every second weekend, I see him in the pub on a Friday out at Blue Peter in my area here. And he's always got scars. He's always got the most hideous scars. I haven't seen that much blood on the rugby field in years. And every week I say, "What are you doing tomorrow?" "No, I'm going back. I'm going to cycle." So he knows there's danger there. I mean, it's like, for goodness sake, if you're playing rugby, there's got to be a disclaimer. Like there is.
Well, I think this all emanates from a group of people that put together a class action suit against World Rugby that are pussies, in my view.
But Kevin, what made those people what they are? I mean, there's a lot of, I won't mention the names, but there were names.
They clearly weren't forwards.
They played for, well, some of them. I mean, Steve Thompson played for England. I mean, at forward. So you've got these guys, and what made them what they are? Rugby did. They made their money out of rugby. They got the acclaim. We wouldn't know who they were if they didn't play rugby. They should
be called out for their cowardice act. I think it's an act of cowardice.
And don't you think that they must have known when they took up the sport that there was going to be head contact? And it's not like, I mean, we look at another sport. We look at boxing. We look at Muhammad Ali. Why do we know about Muhammad Ali? We know because he was the best boxer that probably ever lived. He died young. He died probably from too much being punch drunk. At the end of the day, if you ask Muhammad Ali now, wherever he is, would you? Yeah, I know he's dead, but wherever he is, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
if we were able to go to a spiritualist or a medium and let's contact Muhammad Ali, would you trade anonymity, living a life where nobody knew you, but you died
Yeah.
of old age, or would you rather actually be a boxer and
In a heartbeat, you know what his answer is.
Yes,
In
I
a
know what his
heartbeat.
answer is.
Yeah.
I know what his answer is. So that's my line, and I know that there'll be people, medical types, who will be really irritated with what I'm saying now. But for goodness' sake, it's time to get some common sense. Rugby, unless you want to turn into touch rugby, or unless you want to actually put the guys into helmets or something, which would take away the whole culture of the game. And that
Yeah,
apparently doesn't work anyway.
let me leave you with this thought on that: is no one puts a gun to someone's head and makes them sign a contract. Everybody,
Exactly.
when you're young, you think you're invincible, bulletproof. When someone tries to take you off for a concussion, you tell them to fuck off.
Yeah.
It's like you got the manure fucking balls back when you're younger, and when you get older, you go, yeah, we should have done. They should look after me. It's like bullshit, man. It's like
Yeah.
I played for 15 years that game,
Yeah.
and I still am a servant to it.
Well, it's actually one of the reasons I never carried on playing rugby after school, because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy taking the hits.
Yep.
I would rather watch rugby. I actually preferred to play cricket, because although the hard ball could hurt you, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same as rugby. To me, rugby was a crazy game because you took the hits, and
Yeah.
and it can be very painful. But then don't play the sport. Don't play the
I agree.
sport. It's
I fully.
it's as simple
I
as
am
that.
not. I'm not woke. You know that. I'm
Yeah.
not a pussy. Play the game. Don't come back and try and
And
get
and
something from it.
and life is full of risks. I want to tell you, Kevin, when you're sitting now, I
Yeah.
mean, you're
Should I
sitting
be
out in the
standing?
sun. You don't have a hat. You don't have a pecan. I mean, you could
No.
actually be getting skin cancer. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's like let's be honest. It's just. I
Well,
mean, at the end of the day, we can't like just sort of shut down everything. I mean, they don't do it for UFC. Dricus, what's his name? Dricus Du Plessis, when he fights in a UFC fight, he
yeah.
takes more hits in a couple of minutes than a rugby player takes in a whole year. And if rugby wants to if rugby wants to minimize injuries, it's very simple what they need to do. They need to
Let's play
understand
tag rugby.
football of less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more. Play a shorter season. They don't take as many hits in training, and then
Yeah.
rugby would be safer. But they don't. Rugby seasons are becoming
But
longer
some
and
woke
longer.
person would still find fault with it. And that's
No,
my
no,
issue. It's like
yeah,
you're signing up for rugby as a boy, as a man, play it. Don't,
exactly.
it's like don't 20 years later come back and say they should have protected me more. You knew what you were signing up for. Anyway, let's get to
Yeah.
Ireland versus South Africa. Who's gonna win? Why? And I'll give you some of my thoughts on it as well.
Okay, so what I'm worried about from a South African viewpoint is that I remember the game at Kings Park last year, and Ireland hit them with the physicality in that game that
Are
surprised
they
the.
are they that team though anymore?
They can be that team. They were that team that day. There was actually, you remember, Willie Leroux got injured very early in the game. If I remember correctly, Eben Etzebeth ended up missing much of the game because of
Yeah.
injury as well. So they're going to be very physical. And we were talking just now about the red cards. So South Africa, like if you get in the South African faces and they're thinking about red cards, you might actually have a situation where the Boks aren't ready for that physicality, if you know what I'm saying. That's a
Yep.
possibility. The other thing that they didn't have in that game, which they have now, is Jamison Gibson Park. I think he's possibly the best halfback in the world at the moment when it comes to controlling a game. If Ireland give him quick ball, he's brilliant. He's got a long pass and he's got a great head on him. He's also got a good kicking game. So those are the threats. But I also think back to those games and the last games we've had them, and I'm talking about Dublin in 2022. I'm talking about the World Cup pool game in 2023. And I'm talking about both games last year. In all those games, it was very narrow. The Springboks lost three of them. And they won
Four.
one. But
Well,
they lost.
we're four. We've won 1 out of 5 against Ireland, I think.
But that goes back. That goes back further. I'm talking about since 2022. So 22, 23, and then the two games last year. It's 3 out of 4. I'm talking about really since Russie, because that other one you're thinking about was under Alistair Coetzee, and I don't think we can. I don't think we can include. Yeah, I don't think we can include anything that happened under Alistair Coetzee in Russie's reign. So those games were all close, and that was before the Springboks started evolving. If you remember that game in 2022, the Springboks were very profligate in the sense that they were wasteful. They had several opportunities to nail kicks in that game, and they didn't, and that's why they lost. And it was pretty similar in the game in Paris in the World Cup. if I remember correctly, Mane missed a crucial kick. And they made mistakes that maybe they're not going to make anymore. So I just think that the Boks have evolved and that they're much further down the road than they were. I thought the Ireland were impressive last week. They got their attacking shape back against
they were impressive. They were impressive against a team that lost to us to Italy the week before. So let's put it in context.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say. But that will give Ireland confidence. And confidence is an important thing in rugby. So they'll have the confidence. I just think that the Springboks now, their power game, their all-round game, having Sasha, who they never had. Okay, Sasha did play fullback for much of the game at Kings Park last year, but he was young then. I mean, he was Keller, he was new. He actually made some horrible mistakes in that game when it comes to game management. He's more mature. The Springboks are more mature. The Tony Brown factor is more mature, if you know what I'm saying. So I think that's why I think the Boks are going to win. I just think that the last time they played in Dublin, they should have won. They just didn't take their chances. And they should have actually probably won in Paris as well. They didn't take their chances. I think this time they will take their chances, and I think it'll be the Boks to win. And I would actually say by more than a score. I'd say, like I did for France, I would say 8. I do think it'll be a tight game. Well, it was a tight game most of the way against France. But it's just that I think that the Boks won't have the curveball of the red card this time. And it may sort of, in some ways, feel more comfortable because I don't think we're going to end up trailing by a margin like we did in that game. But I think in the end, the Boks' power that comes in off the bench, their shift in gear late in the game will be too much for Ireland.
Okay. My take simply is this. The key word that you used in your analysis is evolution.
Yeah.
Springbok evolution. Evolution. Yep. When I look at South Africa in terms of the way it's evolving as a team, fills me with so much confidence, so much pride. Fucking beautiful to watch. Evolution. So when you look at the Sasha Feinbergs, you look at the way the Yesterhays, just look at the overall contribution that we can make to a game and adapt to South Africa. If South Africa were on the wrong end of a confrontation, they in the past, I mean, I'm talking past, they didn't seem to have a plan B. Now they do. I don't ever feel that we're out of a game. Like if we're 10 down, or I just don't feel it. So when I look at South Africa's evolution into rugby, I would say that we're more evolved than Ireland. Ireland lost to New Zealand handily. They beat an Australian team that had been beaten by Italy. And okay, we struggle against Italy, but we struggle with 14 men. I think that South Africa win this game by 5 or more points based on the physicality. If we match up with the physicality and we don't go back in the tackle, I think South Africa win this game by 5 clear points.
It's well, it's funny because we're actually saying exactly what we said before France. I said 8 points and you said 5. So it's almost exactly the same. I mean, I think I'm maybe a little bit more confident than you are. I just think 8 because I think it will be by more than a score. But look, I mean, Ireland do have big strengths to their game. I mean, their aerial game last week was really good. And that's why I'm pleased, even though it was an injury that caused Caden Moody to be moved to the wing.
They were good against Australia, and it's like, yes, Australia beat South Africa in an anomaly of a game at Ellis Park. But since that, I think we've won 7 in a row now.
Well, we lost to New Zealand in Eden Park. I think it's 6 in a row now since then. Because then we had Wellington, and then we had the 2 games against Argentina, Japan, France, and Italy. So it's 6. It's 6. Okay. But we've won them. We've won all of them with something to spare. Not Argentina at Twickenham, but it really was. I mean, that game was.
It was 16 points. I mean, before we gave away a loose pass. I mean, 6. I mean, we have blown away the All Blacks. We've blown away France. We've blown every team in our path away. We blew away Argentina. And it's not that we are taking our foot off it. I mean, the motivation to win this game from Rassie when we lost to Ireland in the World Cup is immense. I mean, you can see the focus that South Africa has for this game. If I was Ireland running out on that field, I would feel a little bit who we play, because we've beaten France with 14, we've beaten Italy with 14. We just keep evolving. I know you said earlier on, and I've repeated it. We evolve as a team.
But the interesting thing is that evolution has happened, but a lot of the guys, with the exception of Sasha, and maybe Caden Moody, because I don't know if he played against Ireland last year. Most of those guys have been involved in the last few games against Ireland. So when Ireland run out, they're playing against opponents that they know that they've beaten before. But what they're going to find, what I expect them to find, is that they're not the same players as they were before, because they're playing in a system.
They're another year older. South Africa just seems to have refreshed its talent pool and its drive and its
and they rested last week. They rested last week, most of those players. So there's basically, it's the same team that played against. It's the same team that played against France, with the exception of Lurt, who's obviously red carded now, and Kane and Moody moves to the wing in Orence's place. So it is the same team that came through fire to beat Paris, to win in Paris, and they've had 2 weeks now. Most of those guys have had 2 weeks to put their feet up.
The reality of rugby is, when I played 1,000 years ago, I'd always know who I was playing against, one, but I would always rate that team, and I'd say, would I want to be behind that team or this team? There's no team in world rugby I want to be behind other than South Africa, in terms of its physical domination, its ability to transcend in the game, to evolve in each game, depending on what they see. They've got so much talent. I mean, people don't understand how talented we are. People are doing postmortems on New Zealand right now. England are talking themselves up as the best team in the world again. Go figure. It's like, go figure.
Yeah.
You beat New Zealand at home by 15 or whatever it was. We beat them by 33 away in New Zealand.
Yeah, no.
That takes some doing.
But isn't that typical of England, of England's media?
I mean,
write them off 1 week, and then the next week they're world champions again.
Yep.
At least this time they beat the All Blacks. I mean, in the past, they'd beat Canada, with all due respect.
Well, they beat a terrible All Black team that seems to be imploding.
Yes, I agree.
I don't fancy New Zealand against France, though they may pox it, depending on the teams, but this is not a good New Zealand team. We've said it all year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
it's not. New Zealand and Australia, to me, are on a bit of decline at the moment.
No, Australia on a massive decline. Come on. Yeah. They may not win one game on tour.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to. They're playing France on Saturday night, so they're not going to win a game on tour.
So
unless they factor in the game in Tokyo against Japan as a game on tour, but they won't win a game in Europe.
I don't think so. I think that France beat Australia by 7 or 8 more points. I think Wales lose to New Zealand by 20, which will be 25. And that Argentina, England, that could be an interesting game, actually.
It is an interesting game because that Argentina team, and that's what we got right last week as well, by the way. We got Argentina beating Scotland. But
you got that right. I said no. I'm not getting involved.
But for a long time,
you got involved. That's why you are 12 out of 13 and I'm 11 out of 12. Because sometimes I don't get involved, But well done, 21-0. You probably think
we WhatsApped each other, and I said this game's not over. And then as I was talking, I started scoring.
Yeah, but
but Argentina.
I'm lucky to have you on my show because you're so out there. And you make some calls that I think, okay, those are massive balls,
Okay, so I don't think Argentina will beat England, but I don't think that there's going to be much in that game. I do think that this is a game where England's emotion of beating New Zealand and the way that the media are reacting to it. Let's not forget that there can't be that much separating Argentina from New Zealand at the moment. New Zealand did lose. No, New Zealand. I mean, there can't be much separating New Zealand from Argentina. Sorry, from Argentina. Because the rugby championship results of the last couple of years have shown that. I mean, how many times has Argentina beaten the All Blacks?
But anybody betting on the All Blacks is taking -3 straight off because of their reputation, right? Yeah, that black jersey's worth -3 points. So I haven't seen the betting yet on France New Zealand. If I was to do it myself, I would say France will be favored by 3.
But they're not playing each other this week. It's
No,
Australia.
Yeah, the following week.
I don't think they play. Yeah, I think
really?
this was the last big game of the year for England last week.
Oh, so New Zealand. Okay, because we're out of the window. You're right. So New Zealand
season's finished. Yeah, they're not
some Welsh players said that they can beat New Zealand.
They're locked in. Yeah.
If you got a ticket to the dance and you can throw down, you can probably win a dance competition. But Wales are not winning this game. I mean, I've heard some serious, and then I saw, you ever seen that movie Dumb or Dumber?
Yes.
Have you ever seen it? And Jim Carrey says to the tractor foreman, "What are the chances of us ever getting together? 1 in 100?" And she goes, "Nah, more like 1 in a million." And he goes, "So there's a chance." Yeah, there's a chance. That's all you need. But it won't happen.
I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there's going to be 10 points separating the teams at Twickenham. I think maybe even less. I think that it will be Argentina will come close in that game if they don't win. I just got that feeling that Argentina last week rested their big guys. They came on. They got momentum at the end. They had a gear shift just like England did against the All Blacks, and like the Springboks do every single week, every game that they play. So that could be a fascinating game at Twickenham because I just think that England are going to have that attitude of we've arrived now. We've beaten the All Blacks. The only other frontier left for us to look to cross.
There's always in sports, Gab. There's always in sports when you play a belter the week before. And you put your heart and soul into it, there's always a regression. Always.
Exactly.
It just happens 90% of the time. Not
Argentina
always.
Have been targeting this game. This game. Their sexual selection.
Last week I talked about South Africa, and I said in Italy, South Africa, be a low-scoring game. Turned out to be that way. I've got a feeling that you'll probably get over 51 points against Argentina, England, depending on the weather. That go under. I think that this game sets itself up for a kicking competition, and I don't see a lot of running rugby.
Yeah, no, I think it will be a step back for England in this game, and if Argentina did win, it wouldn't surprise me. They're good enough. Argentina are good enough to beat England, and let's not forget that they had recent experience at Twickenham. They played us there on the 3rd of October in the Champions Cup. I mean, in the Rugby Championship decider. So Argentina
didn't Argentina also beat the British and Irish Lions?
Yeah, in Dublin. Yes. Yeah, they beat the British and Irish Lions. So this Argentina team can beat big teams. They've beaten New Zealand. They've beaten the British and Irish Lions. They shouldn't have lost either of the 2 tests against Australia. So it's going to be an interesting game. That I wouldn't bet my house on it, but I think it is possible we could see an upset in that game.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to be a casual observer in that game. I haven't seen the odds yet, but I am betting on South Africa to beat Ireland.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The other two are gimmies. The other 2 are gimmies. Australia against France is a gimme as far as I'm concerned. And Wales against All Blacks is a gimme too. Who are Scotland playing? I can't remember. I think they might be playing Tonga or something. But yeah, so it's the rest of the games to me are, I mean, the big one is the one featuring South Africa and Ireland.
Look, it's going to be a cracker. It's going to be an absolute cracker. I've just now got my second beer to my right, and I'm going to say that we're aligned again.
Yeah.
And let's try and make it 13 out of 14 for you and 12 out of 13 for me.
Good.
Gab, thanks very much.
Chatting next week.
Okay,
Great.
buddy.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay.